Hello ladies and gentlemen, I'm Joseph Novichkov, Senior Trading Manager with GDM. Today's outlook, we start with the Asian stocks. They ended mostly higher on Wednesday ahead of monetary policy decisions in US and Europe. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 index revised gains after breaching the 2300 level in early trade. Trade data for May released before the market opened worried investors, with the exports missing expectations and of course imports coming in worse than expected. The index still remains well off a 15-year high of 2655 points hit at the end of May. Mainland stocks rallied 1.6% following a choppy session of trade. Earlier in the day, the Shanghai Composite dropped 1% as, of course, investors worried about an upcoming wave of IPOs and margin financial curbs. Elsewhere in Asia, we're looking at the Australia's S&P 200 index ended at a 2-week closing high, ending 3-day losing streak after Warren Buffett told the Australian Financial Review that he will continue with his investing in Australia. Global investors are awaiting the outcome of the Federal Open Market Committee's 2-day meeting, as well as European Central Bank's policy review later in today. The Fed, of course, isn't expected to make any action on interest rates, with, of course, consensus for a rate hike pushed to September. The ECB, meanwhile, could announce a change to emergency liquidity assistance to Greece. As well as we all know, talks between the bankrupt country and its international creditors remain stuck in a deadlock, as of course Athens faces a $1.8 billion repay to the International Monetary Fund by the end of June. Meanwhile, European equities opened flat to higher Wednesday as, of course, investors awaited the conclusion of a 2-day policy meeting of the Federal Reserve and policy review by the European Central Bank. The pound, on the other hand, ended a 6-day gains versus the euro before the Bank of England releases minutes of its June meeting, when policymakers voted to keep interest rates at a record low. Sterling halted 3-day advance versus the dollar as well before the report, the economists said, will show the UK unemployment rate stayed at the least in 7 years in the quarter throughout April for the last report of Bank of England. The Bank of England minutes will also show if the decision to maintain the key rate at 0.5%, where it has been since March 2009, was unanimous, and of course whether certain members of the Monetary Policy Committee were moving closer to voting for a 25 basis points increase. We're moving closely to the commodity markets, looking at gold right now, added to overnight losses to hover around the 1180 announced level on Wednesday, as investors awaited for the Federal Reserve's statement for clues on the timing of the US interest rate hike. The yellow metal had eased 0.1% to 1179.76 an ounce throughout the Asian session after dipping 0.4% in the previous session. Gold is likely to find a support is where it's seen at 1165 if Janet Yellen proves to be mostly hawkish tonight. Crude prices were also virtually unchanged in early Asian trade on Wednesday as firm demand met stronger output, where the market awaited US storage figures later in the trading day. Front month US crude is trading right now at around the $60 per barrel level, up 8 cents from the last settlement. US crude stocks are forecasted to have fallen 1.7 million barrels last week. Gasoline stocks, on the other hand, are expected to be down 300,000 barrels. And of course, today, the calendar at 8:30, in about an hour time, Bank of England's interest rate decision, and at 18, US interest rate decision and monetary policy statement, followed by a press conference. That's all for today. Stay tuned on the calendar and, of course, focus on the most important today. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.